Some stadiums shook the earth this season, where chants echoed like thunder, where fans became one voice, relentless, raw, alive. The kind of places where you feel the match before a ball is even kicked. And then there were others. Soulless stands, empty seats, the kind of silence. The kind of silence that makes you forget football is meant to stir the heart. Because atmosphere isn't built by architecture or money. It's built by passion and tradition. This season, the both of us witnessed extreme atmospheres. From Choreos that painted the sky, to games where even goals felt like whispers. So, which club lit the sky? Which ones lost their voice? And what can we learn from the stadiums that truly came alive in 2024-25 season, which will be a tip for hopefully you guys. Welcome to a new episode.
Yeah, I think we both visited both extremes this season, right? We've had, I think most games where we went we were really impressed.
Yeah.
You had more games where there was a good atmosphere than bad atmosphere, I assume, right? For me, that was the case.
Yeah, for me as well.
Otherwise, we won't even go. But sometimes you're also disappointed. Did you have some where you were really disappointed? Do you already want to reveal that?
Okay, starting this episode off with that. Like, you're not going to like my answer. And it is due to
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
Panathinaikos.
Yeah, I do. You're going to say that.
Because that game has been hyped up like crazy. And for me, given the circumstances, it is the biggest rivalry for both clubs. And okay, there are no away fans. I now fully understand the influence a big away sector has. So when away fans are present, what kind of influence it has. But still, I have been to rivalries where there are no away fans, and this was by far the poorest.
I get that. Yeah, for example, Celtic Rangers, right? There's also no away fans, and this is still a nice atmosphere usually at Celtic Park. I kind of see what you mean. I mean, I love Panathinaikos. I've had really nice experiences there, but also this season I went to against Chelsea. Also there, it's always like a special match at Panathinaikos. This time, sadly, one of the players passed away for the game. That was really emotional.
It was the day after I visited. No, like I don't want to make it about me.
No, I think so. I think
it was
so. Yeah,
the day after my visit.
Yeah, he passed away. Like really horrible what happened there.
Yeah,
and that was the first game after that happened against Chelsea, Conference League. But regardless of that, also there the atmosphere. They play in the Olympic Stadium, so it's just. I would even probably name that as well. But I knew they play in the Olympic Stadium. It's really hard for them to fill that, even though 60,000 fans at a Conference League match. I think this was one of the top Conference League attendances. But I get what you mean with Panathinaikos.
Yeah, but also the city, Athens. I've been to almost every capital city in Europe. And yeah,
didn't catch you, the city of Athens? You don't like the city?
I don't like it's too big, but there are cities like Prague, Wien.
But you prefer them over Athens, the most historic city in Europe, basically.
Bro, like Rome. I picked them like clear over Athens.
Why? What? Because my girlfriend, we were there together, and she hated Athens. She's like, it's such an ugly city, and I was like, hey, come on, it's Athens.
Yeah, but
like,
I think your club plays a big role in that. I think
maybe
Athens disappointed to me.
I've heard that multiple times.
But
now.
okay, for the listeners, it's a tip. Like, we have been both to Panathinaikos this season, and if I hear the stories about how big the club is, how big the fans are, wait till they get back to Loudest. That's their original stadium.
Yeah.
There, the atmosphere should be great. I'm gonna test it out for sure because
it's good. You won't be disappointed there.
What I've seen from the Ultras in the Olympic Stadium, which is a horrific stadium for football, was a solid atmosphere. So it must be great at Loudest.
They are a huge club, yeah. But I get that you mentioned them.
Wait till they are back. Don't go.
If they ever have like a stadium renovation, they want to do that. Hopefully they do that and they get that done. It's going to be the best atmosphere in Greece. I'm telling you that.
Were there any surprises, like a club that surprised you this season on TV or in the stadium?
So on TV, I've seen a lot of atmospheres where I was really, really surprised. But I'll get to that later because there's a lot of examples of clubs that were just crazy this season. But in the stadium, actually, I liked Preußen Münster. I liked them at home. We watched them away with Düsseldorf.
Also solid. I said it to you in the stadium.
And I was at their stadium, which is a horrific ground as well. They're renovating it right now. One of the worst in Germany. But I watched HSV play their away, and they had really good atmosphere. Of course, when you play HSV as a club in the second division, it's always a big game. But they had cool pyro shows. They had nice chants throughout pretty much all of the game. And that was a team where just in terms of compared to expectations versus reality, you don't expect anything from Poison Münster. I mean, they have a good fan base, but I think our listeners, most of them probably don't even know them. So yeah, no, not bad.
You would suggest people to go check out?
The stadium is horrible. Wait maybe until the stadium is fully renovated. And then Münster's also a nice city. So that's like a really under the radar choice. Maybe you have a bigger club there.
Yeah, where it was like surprised. We're going to get to that later.
Okay.
In my top five. Yeah, because they are in my top 5. And I bet even listeners to this podcast don't know which club it is.
Okay.
But for you, like for our listeners here, what was a club you've been to and you say to them, don't fall in the same trap I did?
Well, I don't.
We are always very honest in this podcast.
I know.
People listen for value, bro.
I'm always also on my channel. I do this ranking, and I know what the last places are in my ranking, and that's just what I've visited this season. Everton are there, but I know
Everton.
Yeah, I know.
But they are known to have a solid atmosphere.
That's the thing. I think I really picked a really shit game against Nottingham Forest. They lost 3-0. I think that was the last game under Sean Dyche, the like most Brexit manager ever. They were horrible, played horrible football. Last game of 2024 as well. So I'm talking to Everton fans. I've talked to them about this, and they all they saw me ranking the Everton last, and they were like, they knew right away I went to that game because I know that other games will be better. I literally probably picked the worst atmosphere they had all season. So it's kind of screwed, but I was disappointed there for sure because I know they are known for this. They're moving to this new stadium now.
What made it disappointing?
No chance. Like, of course, the game was shit. And there was, before the game, yeah, of course, before the game, there's always going to be a song. But during the game, there was, you can see my video. I made a video there. Once throughout the whole game, they were like, Everton. I think that was 3 times. Like just that chant, 10 seconds.
Crazy.
And that was just after they had like 2-3 chances. Other than that, I'm not lying to you, bro. I've never seen this in my entire life. Like always, even when I go to games where I say that wasn't a good atmosphere, there are chants. They didn't have a single chant, not even from the fiercest stand, nothing.
Was the stadium sold out?
Yeah, it's sold.
Crazy.
It's always pretty much sold out there.
Because I have been to that game against Liverpool, and that was
you went to,
but that was the Merseyside derby.
Yeah, Merseyside derby.
But the limbs I experienced.
I can imagine that they scored.
Yeah.
They scored. Okay,
it was ruled off. It ended in 0-0.
Okay, but you had the limbs when they scored.
Bruh.
For me, it was like people were just fed up with the team. You realize that they wanted the coach out, and they didn't even have any big chances throughout the whole game. So it was really not fully the fans' fault. But it was just that.
But also on TV, you watched a lot of footy as a nerd. Were there scenes that you saw on TV or social media that you were surprised of and that you were like, I'm going to visit them so people can join you on your trip?
Okay. Number 1, craziest fans I've seen, I think, in Asia.
On TV?
On TV. Not been there, but Tractor FC.
Tractor?
Yeah, they play Tractor FC. They play in the Persian Gulf League, so they are located in Iran.
Okay.
But they are located in the west of Iran, which is a province called Azerbaijan. Yeah. So they feel Azerbaijani. They speak like a Turkic language that's similar to Turkish and Azerbaijani. And
do they also have the vehicle in their logo?
Yeah, they have the tractor in the logo because they were actually founded by a tractor company. So that's why. And that, like this club, I made a video about them. I told you, completely insane. They have never been champions in Iran. It's always going to be mostly clubs from the capital, Tehran. And for them, it's like, it's a rivalry because they're like kind of anti-Iran. They want to be independent. They don't feel Iranian. So whenever they play a club from the capital, and they did that against Esteghlal from the capital, this season there were 120,000 people in the stadium.
What?
Yeah, like the stadium only fits 70,000, but they crammed in there.
Is that the biggest capacity ever?
Not sure, but it's definitely probably the biggest this season in the world. Because like the stadium only fits 70K, but they crammed in there and also like went, because the stadium's like on a hill, and outside like the roof, the walls of the stadium, they were all cramping in, and overall they were like estimates say between 120 and 150,000 fans in that stadium.
Is it easy
supporting
to get there?
Tractor. That's the thing. It's in Iran, so for us Europeans it might be not as easy. But honestly, if it's ever possible to visit that club, because this season they're going to win probably the league for the first time in the history. They've never won. For them, it's like huge. It's not just about winning on the pitch. It's also like showing their identity as like Azerbaijani. And they're beating like the clubs from the capital. For them, it's like the biggest thing ever. I want to go there. If it's ever possible, I want to watch a match there.
Okay,
so
and
sick.
then you have two more scenes
two,
where you were like, this is nuts.
Yeah. Second one is actually really, really famous. River Plate. Every year I can mention them, but this season I would like to mention the game of the Copa Libertadores.
Yeah, I saw the clips.
You saw that. Semi-final against Atlético Mineiro, Brazilian club. And then, I mean, just Google that, guys. River Plate versus Atlético Mineiro, semi-final Copa Libertadores. It's quite long, but you can Google that. Craziest Pyro show I've ever seen. You saw the clips.
I think most people saw it, right?
Most of you probably saw that. Whole stadium lit pyro, 80,000, even VIP, bro. People in fucking VIP were
with their suits
lighting
on.
Pyros, but that's just.
But do you know how they got it into the stadium? Because
I've got no idea.
2 days before they,
you know that?
Yeah, in working storages and in toilets for disabled people, they put in all the fireworks.
That must have been really big toilets because they had so much.
Yeah. they just stacked it in the stadium, like, and then because you can take it in the stadium with security guards, but that many, you have to store it somewhere in the stadium.
Yeah, I
can't. They just stored it in the stadium, and I don't know what the fine is for River.
I don't know either. And they all lost that game. Huh? They lost the tie. They didn't go to the final, but still. I think the club also helped them because the club recorded all that with a drone. I think they knew it was happening, obviously.
But how do you organize it? Does a guy walk up to the club and say like, "Hey guys, we want to do this"? Like,
I don't know. It wasn't really that organized. That you have like in Germany sometimes you have, or in other countries, like a frame, like in Borussia Dortmund made like a star made out of pyros, or like do you know what it is, made like that, a square. So that's when it's really organized. But there it was really. One guy lit it up, and then everyone in the stand, like all around the stadium,
they
had some
knew
pyros.
it. They knew
it was happening, but it wasn't like, you just saw. The flares are starting. I'm gonna light mine. Insane. It's probably on most of our bucket lists here, also for our listeners.
Okay, and then your number one.
Yeah, it's two clubs, but it's in Turkey. It's not Fener. It's not Gala. It's not Beşiktaş. It is not in Istanbul. It is Bursaspor. Bursaspor, they were this club with the stadium that looks like a crocodile. You know that? It's called Timsa Arena.
I think I've seen it on Twitter. Yeah.
It's a white and green club. They were always in the first division. Now they are in the fourth division. They fell down like crazy. They even played in Europe like a decade ago. They're fourth division.
Wow.
And they had, I'm actually looking at this now, 45,170 fans.
In the fourth
division, that's the number, yeah. So they had that's a record in the fourth division of Turkey. And then another club, not sure if I pronounced the name correctly, Eskişehirspor in the fifth division of Turkey.
No
33,247 fans in the fifth division of Turkey.
Is it so big there?
Apparently, and they were also, they used to be like top, I think they're like top 10 all-time teams in Turkey.
Wow.
But they also had a major downfall. And both of these were last month. So both of these were recently in the last couple of weeks. You can't compare the Turkish fourth and fifth division to like League 2 in England or the Regionalliga in Germany. This is really village division, bro.
Yeah.
So that for me is crazy. And I wanted to go there as well. What do you
wrapping up this season, what are your top 5 atmospheres you have been to? We start with your number 5.
Oh, big one. Yeah, my number 5 is probably going to be HSV. We have to plug HSV in there. And it's also, I really believe that is the case. Only 5th place. I don't want to say we're the best, but if you see not just a single game, but if you see across the whole season, we've really stepped it up, I think, in terms of choreos. I think we've had a really, really good season in terms of on the stands as well, and I think it's a fair point.
I always say, like I'm not a fan of HSV, but the atmosphere. No, but the atmosphere at Volksparkstadion is elite.
Thank you, bro.
No, it is the truth, and that's my number 5 was with you. The first game of our season, FC Köln HSV. My number 5 is FC Köln, because if you are a foreigner and have never been to a Köln game and you will go there, you will witness magic.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I went with my dad to Köln Hertha, and it was the shittiest game we picked. And he still said, as a foreigner, like, this was amazing. So
First time for him at Köln, by the way,
no,
right?
he went with my grandpa
Really?
sometimes.
Okay.
But
But first time you guys went together?
so with two of us,
So
like after a long time,
it was a lovely experience for you guys.
Yeah, it was actually emotional.
Emotional,
Club
huh? I can imagine, bro.
Your
Yeah,
number
that's a
4.
nice pick. 4?
4 teams that have a better atmosphere than HSV. But the experience is like
We go to special games as well, right? So that's also what we have to mention. We don't usually go to a random game in Turkey or another country. We go often to derbies. So yeah, sure. The rest of the games are almost all derbies that I have. First one is in Austria, Sturm Graz against Grazer Athletic Club against GAK. So the Grazer derby in Austria, the second biggest derby after the Wiener derby, I would say, in the country.
yeah, easy.
Yeah, and that was also really sick. I would say it didn't quite catch the Wiener derby, but that's really hard. But it was from both sides. It was the first season that they play each other in more than a decade, because GAK are like much worse, and they were always in second division or third. So this was really also special. They share a stadium. And then from both sides, crazy Pyro shows, crazy Choreos, a really underrated small stadium, less than 20K. But that is extremely underrated, in my opinion, that derby.
No, I've seen Sturm Graz with Sporting in the Champions League.
Right.
And that was in Klagenfurt. So that is like 2-hour drive from Graz.
Yeah.
And they filled almost the entire stadium there. It's a really solid stadium.
It's a shit stadium. It's just for the national team, actually.
From Graz, and the ultras were fucking insane. Like, honestly, there were like 2 sections in the south of the stadium or north, and behind the goal. And oh my days, they made noise, bro. Like, it was
even though it wasn't
insane.
their own stadium, and it's like it's an away game for them, pretty much.
Holy moly, they were
So
really loud. Like, they are not in my top 5, but amazing fans.
Graz also a nice city, by the way. So strong suggestion there. If you want to go to Austria, Graz is nice.
Yep.
What's your number 4 though?
Number 4 is the Old Firm at Celtic Park.
Okay.
Was amazing. Like, I'm not a huge fan or enthusiast about English UK atmospheres.
But you talk about Celtic here. Don't want to offend them. They're not English.
So, but Scottish have never been bad for me, and Celtic Park was amazing. Like, it was bouncing.
Went to the first derby of the season, right?
Yeah, and of course, like, they won, so the atmosphere was probably better. But I was in a VIP section, and people in suits were jumping, like they were hugging me. I really enjoyed my time. It's one of my most special videos also on the channel. It was for me an elite experience.
Yeah. I wasn't there this season, last season, but it was sadly not VIP. But no, that was, I believe what you say.
Your number 3.
My number 3, and you talked about VIP guys in suits going crazy, and this fits really well with that, because Turkey, Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, to the derby of one of the biggest derbies in the world. And that was also, we were also in VIP there, and that I told you that also there, all the guys in suits were insulting the Fener fans as if they were little kids, but they were like really businessmen, and that's always for me a sign where it's really everybody goes crazy about such a game.
Passion, yeah.
It's just pure passion, and it was so loud, bro.
Crazy what a game of football can do. To people.
Yeah, and also the traffic, bro. The traffic, when we talk about getting to stadiums, we took 3 hours for a 15-kilometer ride that without traffic would take a highway like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
don't take the highway.
But
in Istanbul,
I mean, it's a huge city anyway, but when there's such a game, then you also realize people go there, not just people like, because the stadium is only 50,000, but people still drive around the stadium even though they don't have a ticket. It's this big, they just want to be there, you know? So this is the passion of that game, and it was just incredibly loud. No choreo, which was a bit sad. Pyro from the away fans, from the Fener fans, but this one was really impressed me in terms of the noise levels. So that's my number 3. Now I'm curious to hear yours.
Yeah, this one I think no one is able to guess.
Okay, can I make a guess?
Yeah, you can.
I have no idea. Yeah. I've got no idea.
Like, it's not insanely big, but it was really impressive somehow. It was Bordeaux, Girondins de Bordeaux, and they are now in the National League 2. That's the fourth tier in France. And you just can't imagine that such a big club that boasts legends like Zidane, Giresse, Lizarazu. Those are big French players.
Yeah.
And I'm being a nerd now, but
being a nerd.
Like, the stadium is so big and they can only fill 15K seats, and it is every time almost sold out. They are not allowed.
Are they not allowed to put more fans?
No,
yeah?
because then they have to. The government of the city doesn't want to put more police force.
Well, that's sad.
I arrived
Such
at the
a club.
stadium. I didn't put it in the video because now I only want to promote positivity. And there was a bloke getting like smashed by the ultra groups. There were like fights, brawls outside the stadium.
Outside before the game.
The Virage Sud had an argument with the Virage Noord, and they were like throwing pyros. The police was like driving really fast. I didn't include it in the video, but you can search for clips on Twitter. And bro, I was like, what the fuck? This is a fourth division tier game, and the fans of the same club
I was going to say, it's
going
two
at
different
each
ultra
other.
groups, just different opposite stands. And they fought. Is that a normal thing? And do they hate each other in Bordeaux?
They hate each other at Bordeaux.
That one I always find really weird. You have that at some clubs. Napoli have that as well, I know.
Yeah.
They always have to be split in away sections.
Sporting also had it.
That is so strange. When you have in the same clubs ultra groups that fight against each other.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
Like that was mental to see. Like I was like, what the fuck, man? And then the inside game, it was okay, but the ultras of Virage Sud came also 15 minutes later. So they entered and then they made noise. And
crazy.
For fourth division game in the stadium.
That's crazy. That is insane. So no way, that's a totally valid choice.
And they did also a great pyro. So I was.
Who was it against?
Stade Brioche.
Okay.
Like very, very small.
So
team.
I just know the brioche buns, the burger things. That's really tasty.
Like
maybe that comes from there.
And it ended also in 0-0. I just have.
You are really unlucky.
Like it. I can't even remember I've watched a nice game of football in the stadium. Like I just can't.
Bro, you are
Celtic Rangers. You are 3-0.
That was the last home win you win.
That was a fun game. Yeah. What is your second pick?
Croatia, bro. Yeah.
The Eternal Derby of Croatia.
The Eternal Derby of Croatia. You've been there. Yeah. I've now been there as well in Split.
What was it like?
Crazy, bro. Split, obviously beautiful city. I think really by the sea. The stadium is really close to the sea as well, and I think you can walk there. Like most areas where I could walk there to the stadium, I value that compared to Istanbul, where I had to drive 3 hours. Yeah. So you can really take in the atmosphere around the ground, walking there, and then obviously you have Torcida Split, the oldest ultra group in the world, at least in Europe. The oldest organized ultra group, 1950, they were founded, bro. That's 75 years old. Most ultra groups are like 20, 30 years old, at least maximum. So this is really, they paved the way for other groups in Europe. And I think you can sense that. They've been doing choreos, they've been doing pyro shows for decades. Yeah. Insane. And on the other hand, you have Bad Blue Boys from Zagreb, which is obviously one of the most dangerous ultra groups as well. And they fucking despise each other. And you can sense that. There are away fans, which I've really valued. And from both sides, peak at Stadion Pollute.
Torcida Split, like, I'm not going to lie.
What did you say? What did you find? How did you find them?
One of the most loud ultras I've ever seen.
Crazy.
Like when they sing something, you see the hands go up and then they do like...
Yeah.
And then, oh my days, it was really loud, like exceptional loud.
And the stadium is, I think it's 33,000, so it's not even that big. And there is a running track. Yeah, but still, it is so fucking loud.
Yeah, and also the rooftop design doesn't help it because it's really open. Yeah. But at my experience, the Zagreb fans, I think they were only allowed to bring 1,000 fans. They were like held in a cage almost.
Yeah.
And
it's really high risk.
Split lost for the second time in 4 days against them. Oh, okay. So after the final whistle, the fans didn't like it and they riot on the pitch. They kicked out the gate.
You went to that game, yeah.
And then they started to throw pyro, and the players of Zagreb, they ran for their lives. Like I've never seen players that scared. Like they just ran like crazy
into the dressing room. Yeah,
and then I walked outside the stadium. It was so tense. Like it's one of those places in Europe where. It's different, man. It's like all the roads are blocked.
You sense the. I wouldn't say you have to be scared there, but you sense it's not the safest game to go to. Like you sense there's some kind of threat in the air. Obviously, when we go there, we won't get involved in fights, but still you feel people are looking for it. Like they're looking for each other kind of to fight. You want to stay out of that.
They all look very tense.
You feel the tension for sure. And I think Split, most like people from like England, Dinamo Zagreb are really known there because they play English clubs. But Split, most people I think wouldn't expect them to be this big in the ultra scene. They are massive. What's yours?
Yeah, my number 2. I feel like I've never heard anyone mention them, but Olympique Lyonnais.
Okay,
Against
you like
Saint-Etienne.
France, bro. You like France.
Yeah, I think France has some really good ultra scenes. Like, of course, they have Olympique de Marseille,
PSG is
which
good as well, yeah.
But Lyonnais, they had 2 amazing tifos at the start of the match. A full stadium choreography by the club, and then the ultras did their part, which I really like.
Against Saint-Etienne?
Saint-Etienne.
Okay.
But like already at warm-up, like some derbies are good from the first minute, and you have derbies that when the players enter the pitch or even before that, they already are. The ultra sections are already completely full. They start singing, and I was allowed like behind the goal, so I was like at the
Press
first row
access,
of the ultras. Bro, it was so impressive. Like at one moment, they all did like touche, 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 touche.
And you were right in front of
I
them,
was
basically.
at the pitch, like
So
I could touch the goalkeeper. That was really impressive to be part of. Like I've never heard anyone say Lyon has good fans, but they do, and they have 2 sections. And I think, especially at big games, Olympique Lyonnais are one of the best fans in France.
That's the valid number 2, and then
The number ones. What was your best experience?
I'm gonna have to say it was so close, but I'll have to say Liga was up, bro. I mean, you were there multiple times. You also suggested it to me.
So
it was so sick, bro.
So now you can confirm my information is valid.
It's so valid. I think you've mentioned them a couple of times when on this podcast before I went there, and now I can confirm all of these statements because this was the one that was not a derby, but a Conference League game against Chelsea. Obviously, still, it was probably the biggest game for them this season because they're not doing great in the league, but
they're doing shit in the league, bro.
They're not doing well. And then this was the huge stage for them to perform on the stands. I don't even have words to describe this. I mean, we made a video there, but and for me, it was about Galatasaray or them. Because I went to Gala before and I made this ranking, and Galatasaray Atmosphere was number 1 for me this season. And then I really said, Liga was even a step ahead. Like
what made it so?
Because I mean, you know that like
I know. First of all, for our listeners,
first of all, like I think they're one of the best in the world at choreos. Choreos in these games, every European game they had a crazy choreo. Here as well, they had one. Then they had another one, another Pyro show when the game started. And then they had another, these banners that they put after the Pyro. For them, like usually it's like a small banner, but for Legia, it's like the whole stand is covered with banner because they had so much Pyro. Yeah. So everybody, like they put these banners to get changed so you don't get recognized with the mask on and off. But they had like a whole banner that even looked like another choreo just because they had so many Pyros. And then they lost 3-0, no chance on the pitch. But you had the Chelsea fans up there, 1,000 of them, I think. Obviously, you didn't hear them at all. And the Liga fans, even after every goal conceded, you know how it is. They just started singing even louder. Yeah. Before the end of the match, it was freezing, right? It snowed that day in Warsaw. It fucking snowed. Everybody took their shirts off. Whole Gilletta took their shirts off and celebrated the team. For me, I know there will be people out there now saying, you don't have standards. This is you don't care about the game. This is low level, small club mentality. Go to the pub instead. But for me, this is just insane. And I know I got really roasted for that. But I said in this video, Legia lost 3-0, but they won 10-0 on the stands. And I know this became like a meme because we were like, Fiago only cares about fan culture. But I'm honest, I do. And this was just the best thing I've witnessed this season, bro.
Glad you followed my tip.
Yeah, definitely, bro. But now I'm really excited for your number 1. Like,
I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this, but these are away fans.
Okay, no home fans.
No.
So that team you didn't see home this season.
Away.
And they still impress you so much.
Yeah, they are by far my number 1.
What are you gonna say?
AS Roma.
Okay.
Bro, AS Roma fans. I, like with Lyon is underrated, but AS Roma, I have never seen clips or, of course, their anthem is really beautiful, but I've never seen clips of that in Italy, AS Roma have amazing songs or really loud.
Yeah, the anthem, obviously, we talked about that.
Like during the game, bro, it was insane. Like they are in my top 5.
You watched the Derby di Roma.
They were their away fans. They still were allowed to bring 10,000, luckily. The derby was also insane. Also, Lazio fans, I do have to say, you don't notice anything in these current days about any fascism or right-wing.
That's good to see.
The fans around me were all kind and chill and really passionate for Lazio. But the AS Roma fans, I was close to them, and every 5 minutes I moved the seat to the left because it was so
You moved
loud.
away from them.
No, closer to them.
Closer to
because, man, like, bro, Roma is insane. When they scored the equalizer, they were 1-0 down.
Was
they
it
kept
1-1
singing.
after all? Yeah.
Yeah, so they were 1-0 down. They kept singing. Then they scored to 1-1. I saw 300 guys like go through the security. They're the stewards on the side, like move themselves up the glass and like we're making signs to the Lazio fans and
That's crazy.
and then they started singing like for 1 minute a song. I'm not even know what it said, but it was every time it was getting louder. Like, oh my god.
Sick, man. I need to go there.
And then they were like smoke bombs, really from those hard bangs. Those,
So one of the best games you've seen in terms of atmosphere.
Yeah,
Like home fans seem pretty cool as well.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Lazio fans were good, and the AS Roma fans were elite.
Wow.
I can't
so
wait
cool.
to visit the home match of AS Roma. I'm
That's
sure
so
they're
cool.
one of the best in Europe.
That's so crazy, man.
If you ask me, like, do you want to go to one more game, then Athletic Bilbao and AS Roma.
Okay.
Easy.
Wow. And obviously Roma is a really nice city as well. So yeah.
Time for our next segment, Dilemmas. I have here 2 tickets.
Yeah.
One is for a match with a world-class team, but with a dead crowd. And the second ticket is for a second division derby with fans going crazy.
Can we put names to these teams?
So the first one is Manchester City versus United.
Okay.
First row VIP.
It's a derby still.
And the second one is Rood-Wijs Essen versus Alemannia Aachen.
Okay. For me, it's not even a debate.
No?
I'm gonna go Rood-Wijs Essen against Alemannia Aachen
Yeah?
all day, any day of the week, bro. Any day of the week. Like that for me.
But if you don't make a video, like because
care. I
watching
don't care.
football is also nice.
Yeah, but honestly, and I will die on this hill. I know people roast me for this, but I care more about the atmosphere than the football. I don't really give a shit. I mean, of course, if you can watch the Champions League final, it's really sick. But watching Man City, you said Man City, United, or Rood-Wijs Essen, Aachen. I will actually go to Essen.
No,
Bro,
I would
even
I would also pick that derby but like any other derby, because what you feel there, it just can't be replicated. And a City United game is nice, but you can always check that later. You know, like they play each other more often. You can also watch a City versus Barca in the Champions League. But these derbies, they only happen a few times per year.
That's the thing. In terms of, you said about you also want to watch a nice game. I can watch nice games on TV. Like Champions League semi-finals, we talked about that. Barca, Inter, it's a nice game we can watch on TV, really nice game. I prefer to watch that on TV. And then when I go somewhere, I'm not really, like, I don't need to be watching a high quality football game. Don't really mind.
This was the first dilemma, but I have prepared. So I have
that was
more.
easy still.
This one is going to be hard.
Okay.
A stadium with incredible choreos but no singing, or a crowd that sings for 90 minutes but no choreos.
Wow. Crowd that sings for 90 minutes but no choreos, that happens. That I've seen that.
No, but let's
Galatasaray, I've seen that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a stadium
So
with only choreos.
Liga with choreos but no singing.
So okay, like top-notch choreos, Pyro as well.
Yeah.
But no noise.
No noise.
You know, I love choreos, I love Pyro, but then I will probably go for the stadium that has crazy noise, that sings and has no choreos.
Yeah, me too, 100%.
Because choreo is really nice, but it's a moment. It's a nice moment, or like a few minutes, or maybe in extreme cases like Lech Poznan, it's more than a few minutes. But the singing is throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have I'd rather watch a game with a really loud noise levels, nice songs, chants throughout the game than having a nice moment choreo and then it's dead. So I will go for the game with singing but no choreos.
Yeah, really the same for me, especially when you consider, I don't know if there's ever been a research to it, but I think a lot of teams don't really improve by a choreo.
No, it's just
because it also makes them less focused sometimes.
Probably.
And I think the singing really electrifies team. Go watch at Villa Park where it can go really hard and then the players improve. Watch the game against PSG and it's an example. So always a crowd that sings.
Yeah.
Away game with a wild traveling fan base or a home game with 50,000 crazy fans?
So me being in the away end and me being in a... Wow.
These are hard, eh?
That's really hard.
Come on, pick.
Yeah, I'll have... I'll always pick the home game.
Yes, now we differ.
Yeah,
now
you
we
disagree.
differ.
I think
away games, but you haven't been on proper
I haven't
away
really
days.
been, but I haven't really been in the away end, only next to it.
You
But
haven't
I
been,
think-
so you can't judge. But away
Yeah, I've
games,
traveled away and been with the fans. I just didn't have a ticket in the away sector.
away
so.
games are elite.
Yeah,
bro.
I can imagine, but
I've been with Koen in Gladbach away end. We traveled with a van
Yeah.
of 12 people. Put like all the beers in the center of the van. Bro, that was just elite. We drew 3-3. But like the emotions, we were 3-2 behind and they scored a 3-3. Like my mates were climbing in the fence.
and you fell like 3 rows. You
the
told
blow
the story.
before me lit Pyro. I was down on the floor. The guy behind me pulled me up. Mate.
That's cool, but you can also have that in the home end.
no, you
You
can't.
can.
Yeah,
if you're in the Südkurve,
no, but
you
then
can
you
have
are like
that.
too, I don't know. Away
okay,
days are
fair.
the best.
All right, man. And to end this episode, of course, we need the subscriber questions. And I have a good one from Rajesh. Interesting. What is one team in your country, so Netherlands for you, Germany for me, that you haven't visited yet and you still want to visit?
Really good question.
You've seen almost all of the Netherlands, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot.
I know.
Okay, I think FC Groningen.
You haven't been there?
No, and I think they have a very solid ultra scene. So Groningen or Groningen.
Groningen, okay.
What
In the
about you?
North Netherlands.
What about you in Germany?
For me, it's definitely Kaiserslautern
Yeah,
and Dynamo Dresden. Both I haven't seen yet, and both are top tier.
Lautern is
Both
geil.
have a good shot of being top 5 in Germany, and I haven't seen those. The rest I've pretty much all seen or don't want to go to. So these two for sure.
Josh asks, what's the loudest stadium you've ever been in?
Okay, loudest, it has to be Gala. Has to be
Gala?
Galatasaray, yeah. Against Fener. In terms of sheer noise, this was the loudest I've ever witnessed. For you?
Stade Velodrome. Olympique
Okay.
de Marseille.
Okay.
I think the design improves it
Helps,
there.
yeah.
But man, it goes so loud there. Stade Velodrome is bucket list.
That's sick.
Max asks, have you ever left a match thinking that crowd actually won us the game?
Oh, for my team, where our fans won us the game.
No, just have you been to a game?
Okay, one is prime example. Frankfurt, Barcelona.
Okay.
They didn't. Okay, it's a bit of a cheating because they didn't win. They went through. I went to the first leg and they drew there. But second leg they took over Barcelona. But even in the first leg, I mean, Barca is always going to be a better team than Frankfurt. And Frankfurt were just purely not purely carried. I don't want to say the players didn't do well. They did amazing. But in terms of when you check the qualities, they were carried so much by the crowd. What about you though? Have you ever seen a match where the crowd won the game basically?
I have maybe 2 prime examples where I've been to in real life.
2 of them.
First one is Rapid Wien against Alsja Wien. The both of us were
We
there.
were there.
Somehow the fans made it already in 1.5 hours before kickoff. It was completely full. Like there was not one person that could enter the stadium anymore. Like 1.5 hours before the game, they were making noise. The away team were all dressed, so not in their football kit. They were walking in the stadium, and the fans were whistling so loud. Like that made such a big impact on them. And then during warm-up, they were motivating the players with songs. There were already pyro lit in the ground. And then right before the players were getting back to the locker room, the ultras met with the players and they were like telling them how much it meant to them. Prime example, Rapid Wien smashed Alsja Wien.
Yeah.
They hadn't won in their stadium since the stadium was built.
Since the stadium was built, yeah.
Ever.
We witnessed the first win there.
So
it was really
that
historic.
made a huge impact. I'm 100% convinced of that. I said it maybe 10 times. Like, I'm so convinced the fans made an impact here. And then number 2, FC Köln versus Mönchengladbach. Köln was horrific that season. Gladbach was
The 3-3 or the home game?
3-1. 3-1 home win.
Oh, I've watched so many derbies. I don't even know what season that was.
So Köln was way below Gladbach. We were already facing relegation, and Gladbach was the favorite that game. During warm-up, Zoetkurve also completely full. They were constantly shouting at the players, and right before the players also went into the locker room, they were like symbolizing to the players, like, come here. So the players gathered in a big circle, and I think it took them 5 minutes to speak with them. So imagine you finish your warming up and you were 5 minutes within the ultras. So I think 10 guys of the ultras like were meeting in a big circle, and they were telling them like, okay, guys, this is the match. put in your efforts, and they won 3-1.
And that was the first win for Köln all season, I think. If we mean the same game, because I was there as well. It was their first win, and it wasn't the derby
that year. And oh man,
and they got relegated.
The Ultras made one of the most beautiful Pyro shows ever in football. Those were two significant games where I'm like, the home crowd played such a big part. If those games were played away, I'm not sure it would have been the same result.
Even during pandemic, behind closed doors, same thing. Really good suggestions, bro. And I guess you guys have a really good inspiration now. We mentioned so many clubs, bro. So if you want to travel, you know where. This was already episode 18. And if you enjoyed this, leave a like on this video. If you're on Spotify, feel free to rate us however many stars you want to give. And we will see each other next Wednesday.